Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So I definitely feel that people are really underestimating Brigitte as a hero. It's fair to say that she does have her problems, her weaknesses that can be very much exploited, but I do feel that this hero is going to be a lot better than people may first let on. And there's a huge misconception about the hero that I really want to highlight, being one of the main reasons why I feel Brigitte is going to be meta changing. More specifically for the support category. So here's 5 main reasons why Brigitte is the perfect hero to be added into the game right now. And it starts with that big misconception surrounding healing. There's a big thing that people think that Brigitte can't put out enough healing in comparison to the other supports. It's understandable why. She's a hero that really needs to do damage to actually do support, and it requires her to get in close and personal to enemies that sometimes may not let that happen. But also looking at the healing numbers, the people don't think that she can do enough healing to compete with the likes of Ana, Moira, Mercy, Lucio, even Zenyatta to an extent. However, there's one main thing that people are missing, and it's very well constructed in an article which is on the Brigitte main subreddit, and it was written by Calprinicus, and it really does show how Brigitte can put out a good amount of healing in comparison to the other supports. In a breakdown, each of the heroes was compared with their healing on a single target over 5 seconds without using their ultimate. And this is how it looks. Moira did 700 HP healing over 5 seconds, Ana 512.5, Mercy 300, Brigitte 230, Lucio 172, and Zenyatta 150 HP over 5 seconds. And the main thing that caused Brigitte to be in and amongst the likes of Mercy, Ana and Moira is the fact that she has her repair kit, which heals for 150 health if the target actually needs healing. Otherwise it gives 75 armor. So her single target healing compared to some of the other supports is pretty decent. Obviously heroes like Mercy, Ana and especially Moira are going to win out on HP healing overall, but Brigitte provides so much more utility. It actually quite surprises me that people feel that she's going to be used as an off tank in a triple support lineup. I really don't see that happening, but it is early days at least. But that kind of goes on to the second reason on why Brigitte is going to change the meta as a whole, and that's because she destroys the archetype. What I mean by that is you have the 2 categories that the pros use for the supports in the high tier games, and they're the main supports and the flex supports. Main supports are the likes of Lucio and sometimes Mercy, where their main job is to provide the big output of healing and keep everybody alive. Then you have the flex supports, which is Zenyatta and Ana, which obviously do a lot of support and healing, but they provide more utility than anything. Zenyatta has his Discord orbs, and Ana of course has loads of abilities that she can use, including the Nano Boost and the Anti-Heal. And up until Moira's release, these archetypes were kind of set in place really. Mercy became the main support for a while, Lucio dropped off significantly in the Mercy meta of course, but once Moira was added into the game, people weren't sure whether she was going to be a main support or a flex support, and she's kind of both yet neither, and Brigitte is kind of the same. Most people were saying the same thing about Moira's launch. She's one of the most popular heroes in the game currently, and even I was hesitant to think that she'd be useful a lot of the time because she obviously has big drawbacks, much like Brigitte does, but people still make her work in those situations. They really show that there is a high skill ceiling to playing a support like this, even in situations where she doesn't really suit it, and it would not surprise me to see Brigitte in the same situation. I don't think she's going to be as strong as Moira. I think Moira is one of the best picks in the game right now, but I think that underestimating Brigitte right now is just a bad thing to do when we've already seen one hero recently released as a support completely change up how a good portion of those heroes actually do work. And slowly but surely you can start to see Moira creeping into the pro scene, even in those situations that aren't like quad tank try and get coalescence as quick as possible. And I feel that both of these 2 supports have been added within the last, 4 months? Are there to try and smash this trope and archetype of what support should be, and it opens it up for everybody else to play, much like the tank role as well. Of course you have main tanks and off tanks, but sometimes you can play both main tanks, both off tanks in your ladder games and it still works, and even the pros are starting to do that now as well. Another reason why I feel Brigitte may change up the meta dramatically actually rests on her father. There's a good amount of emphasis on armor with Brigitte, and we know that Torbjorn's going to get a few changes, so it wouldn't surprise me to see Torbjorn being made to be more of a armor centric character, changing how armor works for him in particular, and seeing how that synergizes with Brigitte and other future heroes if they decide to use it. Symmetra, I guess to an extent with shields as well. It'd be interesting to see if Blizzard change up how these different types of health work. And I feel that underestimating armor here is one of the big things that's going to happen here. We spoke about the repair kit that Brigitte has as an ability, heals for 150 HP unless they're already full health, in which case it gives them 75 armor. Now this is a great ability and it's kind of used like a Zarya shield, and I'll get back onto that in a second, but it's used like a Zarya shield because you can put it on a target on your team that's about to dive in. One of the flankers, Genji, Doomfist, or the main tanks, D.Va, Winston, are charging Reinhardt, a Zarya that's trying to get a bit of charge. You can give them just a little bit of health, and that 75 armor can go a long way into making sure that key targets stay alive. And the cooldown on it as well is really short in comparison to some of the other big abilities, like Ana's Biotic Grenade, for example. All of Brigitte's abilities are on very low cooldowns, and it means that these abilities mesh well, and it kind of reminds me of a support version of old Doomfist before he got Doomfisted. But I think putting a circle around armor is important for everybody to do. I feel it's going to have a big presence in the game with any luck with how it works. But even then, if not, Brigitte's use of armor for her ultimate and repair kits is something that has been often underutilized. People look at Brigitte's healing and they don't realize that the armor provided is under a different stat as well. And it tends to add to like 2/3 extra healing on top of the healing done by Brigitte. So yeah, don't underemphasize the use of armor with her because it's very strong, and it may be even stronger if Torbjörn gets changed up to be a similar hero. Reason number 4 is that she's another anti-mechanic hero. What I mean by this is that she's closer to the likes of Mercy than she is Ana or Zenyatta. Going back a while, if you had no like mechanical skill at the game, whether Overwatch was your first FPS, the only real support that you could go and play to an extent was Mercy. Lucio, Zenyatta and Ana required you to have a good amount of mechanical aim, especially in a higher tiers where it counts a lot more. And Mercy was the only hero that you really didn't need to focus on that. Instead, you had to focus on likes of game sense, positioning and communication, and you had to do a much better job with those attributes than you did with actual mechanical skill. And even then, there's still some tech for Mercy. Well, Moira's addition and then Brigitte's addition means that there's more supports within the game that aren't as mechanically demanded to pick up and learn, but they require you to have good game sense and positioning, especially as Brigitte, and that's a really good thing. Nobody really gives Winston and Reinhardt shit for playing less mechanically skilled heroes than they do with Mercy. Mercy's got a very negative connotation surrounding her, and I do think the addition of Brigitte and also Moira way back when allows people to spread out onto these other support categories without going, I want to play support but I'm completely trash at Ana or Zen. Even Lucio to an extent does require a little bit of mechanical skill, so you kind of get drafted onto Mercy, and a lot of people don't want to play it, which is understandable. So it's the addition of another support hero, easy to learn but very, very, very hard to master, and you can make a ton of mistakes on her, which is nice to see that there's another hero within a competitive FPS game like Overwatch that doesn't require you to be shooty gun. And finally, one of the main reasons why I feel that Brigitte is going to be amazing is I've deemed it as Brigitte the Bridge. And what I mean by that is it basically gives support players that want to pick up and play her an opportunity to learn the mechanics surrounding a tank. Remember when I said that the armor packs were like Zarya shields? You get a good understanding of when to use projected barriers on people, when to expect damage, and your armor is going to be useful. You also have your whip shot, which acts a lot like a Roadhog hook, and you of course have your shield, which is very much like Reinhardt. So you learn the positioning and the mechanics and the game sense of being able to play a tank. So no doubt, if you are a support player and you want to pick up Brigitte, you will learn some transitional skills that will help you to play tank a lot better as well. But it also provides tank players a support hero to play as well. It goes back to the idea of, you know, I'm a tank player, I don't really want to play, say we've already got a Mercy on our team or a Lucio, this was before Moira, I'd have to pick up Zen or Ana, and if I'm not a very good hero mechanically on those guys, then I'm going to struggle because of it. So now it gives me the opportunity that if I still want to play tank, but there's a support slot open and all the tank slots are taken, I can pick up Brigitte and be able to play to a certain extent, or to at least the same sort of level, because I understand the mechanics surrounding her in that hybrid tank slot with how she works. Which I feel is one of the main attributes to her being meta-changing, game-changing, but most importantly a competitive hero within the support community that is going to do a lot better than people first estimate. But let me know what you think, whether you feel that there's other things that I haven't highlighted in this video, whether she's a stronger hero than most people would perceive, or whether you feel that she actually is kind of bad and isn't going to be used a lot in the game other than in niche scenarios. But thanks for watching, take care, we'll see you next time.